So in cloud hands, it's unlike the movements that we normally do in Tai Chi because cloud hands is a sideways movement. So initially, we are together and we're going to lift one foot up to make it weightless. And we're going to lead with the toe to come down and come down slowly, arch and heel. And the other foot takes its turn as if we're playing keys on our piano, okay? So at no time while we're in motion should there be two weighted feet, because this would be called disharmony or discord, okay? Like a piano boom down like this, but we're going to take one at a time. It's a sideways motion and we're leading with the toe. In other words, the toe starts the movement, okay? The toe starts the movement. The heel cannot lead the movement. Just as simple as that, okay? So that's the bottom portion of our body. The hips and waists also drive our movements because clouds are not just squares that we just use our sideways motion, but we have corners, we have turns. So the hips and waists have to turn with our body, but actually the hips and waists have a bigger role in that they direct our movements, especially for clouds. So in other words, what I mean by that is that if my hips and waists are turning, my upper body will turn with it, okay? My upper body will turn with it. If my hips and waists are still, and I only use my upper, which are my extremities of my hands, that's not Tai Chi. There again, we're not working as a unit, okay? So we're gonna figure out a way to work as a unit to make floating clouds. So mind sets it, this hips and waists drive it, and what we do on the bottom will match the top, okay? So essentially, whatever we do here, we're going to be doing on the top. The tricky part is, what do the hands do? So here are two images that you can use while you're doing cloud hands. One is that they're like egg beaters, in that an egg beater turns, but both at a same rate, but in a different direction. And they're simultaneous. One doesn't just turn and the other one turns, but they turn together. So they're like beating eggs, okay? Another way of looking at it, which is Ken's favorite, is that he likes to give you an image where you're reading the top line of the newspaper, turning the page, and then yet reading the other top, and turning the page and reading. And even when I'm standing here reading my newspaper, it's a natural flow where my hips and waists are helping me. So we can just stand there. Doesn't matter what side of the cloud you're on, and you can just do it with me. So you can understand a little bit more what I mean. So the hips and waists are directing the movements. Your hands have no business moving unless the hips and waists are driving the movement. Okay? So you see that at 12 o'clock, something happens, and the extremities of 9 and 3, something happens. Okay, now we can do it all together. Okay, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Okay, what happens? At 12 o'clock, the left hand has a stem that's facing down in the direction of 12, and the bottom hand, which happens to be our right hand, is in our dantian, navel area. Just kind of, I want to use the word dragging, but just floating. Okay, when I say just floating, it's like this, just floating. But as it goes to the extreme, so can we get down to 9? This is our stem. This is our floating hand, okay? Can you do that? Yep. Drop this one a little bit more. Yep, good. So it's right in this navel area. Drop a little bit more. Yep. Okay. All right. To get out to the 9, turn the hips and waist. You're at 9. 2 things happen. Flip the top hand so you no longer see the palm. Drop it down while the bottom hand takes its place. You didn't have to turn the wrist of that hand. 12 o'clock, do you have a stem and a cup? A stem and a floating. At 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hand, change the place. Use the hips and waist to get out to 12. Dangle and a stem. Turn the hips and waist. Change the places. Turn the hips and waist. 12. Continue to turn the hips and waist. 2 things happen. Flip. Turn to get to 12. Turn to get to 9. 2 things happen. Flip. Turn. Flip. Turn. Flip. Every time we do this rotation, you should feel grounded. You should feel your shoulders dropped. And you should also feel that the only way we're doing floating clouds is that the hips and waist are swiveling. They're rotating on your axle, making you use your core, making you aware that the hips and waist are dictating your movements. The spine is keeping you erect. It's giving you a sense of relaxation because we're repeating our movements. And our shoulders are nice and loose and relaxed and not tight. The energy can flow freely through your joints and through your whole system. So as I'm talking and as we do this, we're noticing that our hips and waist are getting loose and getting more relaxed to the point where we feel we need to do something with our feet. Our feet are just there holding us, but our feet can enhance the movement. So this is how it can be enhanced without too much talking. You're going to follow, okay? Use your hips and waist. One more and then we're going the other way. Use your hips and waist all the time. Okay, we're going to stop and only do one thing and do it the other way. Changing our hand position, moving into the 12. But at the 3 o'clock, we're going to do 2 things. Flip the hands, close the feet. Using your hips and waist, open. Close. Use your hips and waist. So what I want you to do is realize that once your hands are set, the only time they really move is at the 3 o'clock, like now, and at the 9 o'clock. Because once they're set up, the hips and waist move your motion. Is that true? Can you test that out? Hips and waist, move my motion. Leave my hands there. Now move my hands. Hips and waist, move me out to 9. Move me to 12. Move me to 3. Only move the hips and waist, going the other way. Close. Move hips and waist. Reverse the hands. Two things happen at 9. Stem and cup at 12. Move the hips and waist. 3, 2 things happen. Stem, cup, 12. 2 things happen, flip and close. 2 things happen, 3. Flip me, close. Other way. So in order for us to keep our Tai Chi posture, which is ongoing, the hands that are floating cannot be too far out, but they shouldn't be close, close, close to your body. Other way. Okay, so they're like a natural distance away from your body. When you look at the clouds and your vision is always only on the top hand tips of the finger. Tips of the finger is where your vision is. However, other way now, okay? You look out into infinity. You don't study and only focus short at the tips of your top hand. So the glance is only on the top. You never look at the bottom to see whether it's floating. Okay, other way. Okay, so I think now we're kind of not really getting dizzy, but we've had enough, right? But all I'm asking is that, well, asking a lot, but covering the real essential principles of Tai Chi, in that no matter where our upper body is, it's being directed by our hips and waist. So if we set our hands up like this and we change places at certain parts, it's only moving. It's not moving because I'm moving my hand. It is here and there because I'm moving my hips and waist. So to make that a little clearer, if my hands were like this and I wanted to move my hands, this is how I would do it, right? It's a hand motion, which is a no-no. But if we say, my hips and waist will get me there, all I did was leave my hands where they are. And they are moving, not because I'm moving and directing them, but the hips and waist are joined to my body, and the faster I go, the faster my hands will move. Same way in this thing. So although you know that you have to do certain things at the extremities and the center of the clock, everything's being dictated because your mind is saying, hips and waist, take me to those floating clouds, or make me that way, okay? So in essence, when we start something new, we want to get to the best precise motion or detail. But in Tai Chi, to get that way is a journey. It's long, it's enjoyable, but we have to then say, how are we getting there? That's the most important thing. We're getting there because something in our core, something in our mind is helping us to move. Okay, so think about that one and then apply it to all your motions. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of fast forward this. So this is Yang Ten form, good Tai Chi posture, dropping the shoulders, tucking the butt, hollowing the chest, chin slightly down, not parallel to the ground, vision out into infinity, tongue on our palate, good thoughts, and of course our suspended head, okay? Commencing form, you're at 50-50. Shift weight to the right, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, open, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Hands rotate to the middle. Take a deep breath in as you elevate both hands as if you're drawing up water. At shoulder level, we're going to reverse the process. Drop the shoulders, flex the knees, push down. Leave the left hand in the middle as the right hand rises up. Open the palms to the ceiling as you glance. Bring it to the head and ear area. Turn the head and neck. Meet the hands in the middle. Push forward, pull back as if to repulse the monkey. Leave the right hand in the center. Left hand rises up higher as you glance at it. Open the palms. Bring it to the ear. Turn the head and neck. Meet the hands in the center. Push forward, pull back. We're going to brush our knee. T-stance. Set it up correctly. Right hand higher, left hand to your armpits or shoulder, okay? T-stance, we're going to multitask. Let's warm it up. The top hand comes to the ear. How? Top hand comes to the ear. Bring it back out. Two things happen. The left hand comes down as the top hand comes to the ear. Two things happen. Here, go. Ear down. Again, ear down. Three things happen. We're going to step out with our left heel as we turn our hips and waist. Ear down, heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder. T-stance. Three things happen. Ear and hand and down and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. This is a drill because we didn't warm it up. Twist step. Right hand higher, left hand to the shoulder, T-stance. Three things happen. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Left hand higher, T-stance. Right hand to the shoulder, glancing at the left or higher hand. Three things happen. Ear, hand comes down, heel comes out. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Right hand higher, left hand to the shoulder, T-stance. Three things happen. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. Left hand higher, T-stance. Right hand to your shoulder. All together. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball. Okay, that one we're gonna have to remember, I'll have to remember to warm up, but so far so good. Let's go back now. We're doing, we left off on brush knee, and we're gonna go back into the 10 form. After brushing our knee, we're gonna hold our ball, okay? I'm gonna start you here, hold your ball. We're gonna part the wild horse's mane, and after that, we're getting into cloud hands. T-stance, step out on an L, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T-stance. Step out on an L, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Here begins cloud hands. Listen and do. Flip the forward hand so you no longer see the palm. Join it by the back hand where you can see your palm. They're staggered, right? You're in a bow stance. You're gonna sit back and sit down. You're gonna pivot, and you're at 12 o'clock. Is that right? Stem and a dangle, stem and a floating hand. How do we get out to 9? Listen carefully and do it. Put the weight on the right so that the left heel can pivot out. You got to 9. 2 things happen. What? Flip the hands, close the feet. We'll come back to it and review. 12 o'clock. Use the hips and waists to get to 3. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. 12 o'clock, stem and a dangle. 9 o'clock, only 1 thing happens. Flip the hands. 12 o'clock is a stem and a dangle. 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Dangle. 9 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. But at 3 o'clock, we can only flip the hands. But at 12 o'clock, it's setting us up for a what? A golden cockerel. Down, other side, another golden cockerel. Down, we're going to gather the energy, and we're going to kick out with our right. Follow the kick with our eyes, follow with our right hand, down, left hand on the outside, left foot coming up, kick out, left, holding our ball. This time we're going to the right first. We're going to ward off. Step out, bottom hand advances to forearm, turn the hips and waist, reposition your hands, grasp the bird's tail, pull down your opponent, turn back, turn forward, contact, push the energy through, separate the energy and roll back and sit down, spiral up and lunge forward. Other side, sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball, and ward off. Step out on an L, bottom hand advances to forearm, turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail, turn again, contact, push from the middle, separate, roll back, sit down, spiral up and out, apparently close. Sit back, sit down, twist in, twist out, pivot in, embrace the tiger with the right hand inside the cross. Move that energy over, rotate on your wrists so that your palms are now facing you. Bring the tiger slightly closer to you at your chest. Push them out. Palms are down. Drop your shoulders, flex your knees. Let gravity take you back home as you wrap around, up on the toe, off the ground, toe down, heel down. Okay, so when we part the wild horse's mane, one side, second side, we're now ready for cloud hands. We flip the forward hand and we join it. I'll let you do it, but not now. Okay, let's just watch first. So I'm in a bow stance. I'm ready for cloud hands. I want to get out. I'm at 3 o'clock and I want to get out to 12 and then 9. That's kind of tricky. But if you understand, then you will use your body and it'll get you there. Bow stance. The next thing after a bow stance is a sit back, sit down. Twist step takes me to 12. I have a stem on the top, a floating on the bottom. I want to get out to 9. How do I get there? I don't use my hands to reach out to 9 o'clock. I use my left heel and pivot. There's 9 o'clock. But 2 things happen. I flip the hands, join the feet. Okay? Now let's try it, okay? So we said cloud hand starts when we're done parting of the wild horse's mane. So the last parting of the horse's mane, right foot is insubstantial, right hand is on the bottom. Weighted down. We can't stand this way, we have to weight down. Step out on an L, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Flip the forward hand so you no longer see the palm. Join it with the back hand where you can see the palm. And the hands are staggered. They should not be at the same extent. We're in a bow stance, so the back foot should be on a slant, a little bit slanted on the back, and then the foot should be a little, not this way, further out, yeah? Because you're on a bow stance, okay? We're setting it up correctly. What do we do after we do a bow stance? We sit back and we sit down. Don't worry about your hands, you set it up already. Sit back, sit down. Twist with the insubstantial and turn the hips and waist, and you have 12 o'clock, right? Do you all have 12? We want to get out to 9. Use the heel of our left and pivot out there. There's 9. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. Use your hips and waist to get to the extremity. But 9 o'clock, we only want to flip the hands. Move to the 12, turn the hips and waist to 3. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Flip the hands, open the feet. But we have to leave cloud hands now, so we only flip the hands. But at 12 o'clock, we turn ourselves into a golden cockerel. Push down, pull up, 12 o'clock. The other side, push down, pull up. Down, and then we gather energy. Part the wild horse's mane. Step out on an L, turn the hips and waist, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. We're in a bow stance. Cloud hands. Flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. We're in a bow stance. The premise says, the pattern says, from a bow stance, we get into a sit down and sit back. Sit back, sit down. Twist, step in. 12 o'clock, stem and cup. To get to the 9 o'clock, we put our left heel on a pivot to 9. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Move the hips and waist to 12 and then to 3. 2 things happen. Flip and open. Move to the 9, but only 1 thing happens. Coming out to the 3, 2 things happen. Out to the 9, 2 things happen. But at 3 o'clock, only flip and shift the weight to the left and come up as a golden cockerel.